They say nursery rhymes are just innocent songs for children. But what if I told you that some of them hide secrets, secrets buried so deep in history that people dare not speak of them? Ring Around the Rosie is one such rhyme. You've sung it before, perhaps as a child, laughing as you and your friends twirled in a circle. It was harmless then, or so you thought. But the truth is far darker. This is not a song about the plague, as some claim. This is something much older, much more sinister. Let me take you back to the beginning, to a time before the song was just a game, before it became a whisper carried through generations. It started as a chant, spoken in hushed tones among those who knew its meaning. The words were not meant for amusement. They were meant to keep something at bay. The earliest record of the rhyme appears in a 14th century manuscript, but not as a children's song. No, it was a warning, scrawled hastily in the margins of an old grimoire. The ink had been smeared, as if the writer had been in a hurry, but the words remained. Ring around the rosie, pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes. We all fall down. But that was not all. There was more to the chant, words that have long since been erased from the versions we know today. The manuscript was found locked away in a forgotten chamber beneath a crumbling cathedral in France. The scholar who discovered it reported strange occurrences, papers shifting in the night, the soft sound of footsteps in empty corridors. He dismissed them as figments of his imagination, but as he read deeper into the grimoire, he found references to a ritual tied to the rhyme. A ritual meant to ward off something ancient, something malevolent. The accounts speak of villagers performing ceremonies under the light of the full moon, chanting the words in unison while clutching small bouquets of herbs. The poses were not mere flowers, but a ward against an entity known only in whispers, a being with no face, no body, only a voice carried by the wind. Hidden deep in the archives of an unnamed monastery, there exists a version of the rhyme that was never meant to be found. It is longer, more complete. The additional lines were struck through violently, as though someone wanted them forgotten. Ring around the rosie, pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. Falling faster, turning pale, shadows whisper, children wail. One by one, they join the call, till there's nothing left at all. What was it trying to say? What was it trying to hide? An old monk's diary, found near the manuscript, told of a village where the children would sing the song in the fields at dusk. He described how, one by one, they would begin to speak to someone unseen, their laughter fading into quiet murmurs. And then, without a sound, they would vanish. The villagers believed they had been taken by the whispering ones, beings that existed between the veil of worlds. The rhyme was not a simple song, it was a warning, a chant to hold them back, or perhaps an invitation. The monk's diary mentioned a peculiar detail. After a child went missing, their shadow would remain for days, burned into the ground as though seared by an invisible fire. The villagers would avoid those spots, refusing to step where a child had once stood. For centuries, there have been stories. Stories of children disappearing after singing the song. Most were dismissed as folktales, whispered warnings to keep children from wandering too far into the woods. But those who know the truth know better. In 1629, a village in southern England reported that 5 children went missing in a single night. Witnesses claimed they had been playing in a circle, reciting the rhyme, when suddenly they were gone. Their parents searched for them, but all they found were small, ashy handprints on the trees surrounding the clearing where they had last stood. There were no footprints leading away. The villagers refused to speak of it again. The land where it happened was abandoned, left to be reclaimed by nature. Yet, on nights when the wind was still, travelers passing through swore they could hear the faint echo of children's laughter and the whisper of a song carried through the trees. One journal entry from the time details a farmer who saw something in his fields that same night. A shifting mass of darkness, low to the ground, moving unnaturally fast. The next morning, the earth where the children had played was scorched black, as if something had burned there without flame. There are places where the song still lingers, not in playgrounds, not in schools, but in the forgotten corners of the world, places where the air feels thick, where shadows stretch a little too long. In one such place, an abandoned schoolhouse in rural Scotland, a traveler once claimed to hear something in the night, a soft, ghostly voice. He swore the words were barely above a whisper, but they were unmistakable. Ring around the rosie. He left that night, and he never returned. Those who entered the schoolhouse later found his belongings untouched, his chair pulled up to a dust-covered desk. A faint impression of something small, childlike, was left in the dust beside him, but no signs of a struggle. No footprints leading in or out. Some say the song is a summoning. Others say it is a curse. But those who have heard it in the dark say it is something worse, a warning, and a promise. The full meaning of the rhyme has been lost to time, but remnants of its truth remain in the stories, in the vanishing children, in the whispered voices that some still hear in the night. A recent case in 2007 reported a similar phenomenon. A mother in a quiet suburban neighborhood awoke to the sound of her daughter singing the song in her room. When she opened the door, she found the girl standing motionless in the center of her room, her voice soft, distant. The moment the mother spoke her name, the girl fell silent. She turned, her face blank, her eyes dull. "They're here," she whispered, and then she collapsed. She was never the same after that night. Her mother says she stopped speaking entirely, only humming the tune under her breath whenever she thought she was alone. And then there is the final line. "We all fall down." What does it mean? Is it just a playful collapse? Or is it something else, a prophecy? A fate none can escape? Perhaps the answer has always been in the song itself. And perhaps, if you listen closely, you will hear the voices that still sing it, waiting for someone else to join them. So tell me, will you sing it again? Thank you for tuning in. Please leave a like and subscribe. I will see you again next week.